Welcome to this week's episode of Pay Dirt. Today I'm going to be talking about apple trees, how to establish apple trees, how to maintain them, then the payoff that comes for the landowner. On the establishment side, I'm not an expert in that field, so I've relied on other people in the past. This is not a very complex thing. You just have certain steps that you have to follow, so I'm going to kick it over to Eli Cook. He runs an orchard out east and he knows a lot about apple trees.
When is the best time to plant?
The best time to plant would be around this time of year.
So this being the first week of March.
First week of March, yeah. We're getting ready to plant next week, so as long as the ground's not too wet, if you plant when it's real wet, then you know, it can kind of compact and you know, inhibit your root growth. But you know, it's pretty dry right now. It'd be a perfect time to plant a tree. So.
How do you guys put them in?
We use a tree planter, but
so you move the dirt and everything in?
It's like a big giant subsoiler. It's got like a V blade on it and a seat on the back with two things here, so it actually makes us a big trench, and then we sit on the back and put the trees in. But
we planted maple like that, and you know, just set them in one after another, every 6 feet or so.
And it really does well with that, because you're not creating. It creates a lot of room in there for the roots and stuff to get going. But
and what spacing do you recommend for apple trees?
Like the rootstock I recommend is like a bud 118, so you're probably at 12 feet, you know, between trees, and 20 feet between 20 to 22 feet between your drive middles if you're going to leave a place to brush hog and stuff like that. And you did the right thing with the cages there. That's good. And you got to do something to keep those deer from getting in there and rubbing. They'll eat them to pieces.
Yeah, they do like to chew on it. They eat the branches and everything.
Yeah.
And then I put the plastic tubing on there. It was supposed to be to keep the rabbits from chewing the bark during the winter, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know how useful that is, but that was one thing I read when I was planting, that you should.
Yeah, you can do that, or we just take white latex paint with like a rubber glove and put a bunch of hot flakes in there and stuff like that, and then just kind of go up there and paint that trunk. That'll keep groundhogs, rabbits, anything from chewing on there. But we sometimes call those groundhog ladders because they can climb right up and get up in there. But so I think I like the white latex paint with the hot pepper flakes. It seems like it works pretty good.
I'll be darned.
Hey, Slade Priest here with Realtree's United Country Hunting Properties. Today we want to talk about picking your perfect piece of hunting ground. You know, this is a piece of ground we have in northern Missouri, and this is my personal place where I hunt up in North Missouri. And let me tell you why I picked this as my personal place. You know, there's a lot of places and opportunities I've had to hunt all across the country, and let me tell you why I like this farm. This particular farm we call Walnut Ridge. It's in North Missouri in Harrison County, right up here on the Iowa line. So you know, just from the area, it grows giant deer. Okay, one thing off the checklist. Can I grow big deer? Yeah, we're right by southern Iowa. We can grow big deer. Okay, another thing about the area, it is loaded up with crops. They grow beans and corn on this particular farm. And then right back here behind me is a big alfalfa field. So year-round nutrition is not an issue for these deer to get big and hold them here close. All right, another thing that's so important to your piece of ground is water. You know, deer gotta have water. Well, this particular farm, it's got a big lake right here, a couple small ponds, and a creek that runs year-round through it. So water, it's never an issue on this farm. Okay, another thing when you pick in your farm is habitat. I'm a bow hunter. I do a little bit of rifle hunting, but for either works for this farm. If you look at an aerial map, and you know, it's so easy to get good aerials these days, you can get them on your phone. You know, this tract actually has more timber on it than any other surrounding tracts. So in theory, I've got bedding and acorns and places for the deer to get out of the fields, and I got food and water here on the tract. So all the ingredients to hold and grow big deer are on this particular farm. You know, another thing we were looking for our perfect piece of hunting ground was a farm that had great hunting and great rate of return on the crops. You know, this farm, it has it. It's got pretty draws you can hunt in between the good rolling crop fields. So good rate of return, good hunting, good habitat, water sources, and good neighbors. That's why we picked this particular farm. I love this place.
This is the same tree that Eli Cook started working on in 2016, and then Jesse Randall was here last spring and he worked on this one a little bit too. So it's had a couple of real good experts pruning and shaping this tree, and it did produce a lot of fruit this past fall. I didn't film that, unfortunately, but I did see it, that there was quite a few apple trees or apples on this tree. So I've got to come in and prune this one again. This is a task that you have to do every single year. Pruning is not a one and done deal. You always have to go in and clean up the new growth that's going in the wrong direction. The whole goal is to clean out any branches that are going straight up or back into the tree, and then to spread the branches that are going somewhat outward so that they lay a lot flatter. That's the best situation for creating airflow through the tree, getting sunlight into all of the spots where the tree needs to flourish to produce the apples, and then also making the tree structurally stronger to hold a lot of apples. So that's all I'm doing here, is I'm just going to go in, take out anything pointing up, anything pointing in, and then make sure that the branches that we're trying to create as apple bearing branches get spread. So you can see that's pretty easy. It took me about less than 10 minutes for this tree. And it had been shaped and it had been worked on a couple of times in the past. So this was more about just the maintenance part of pruning. I was a little bit more aggressive on a few of these branches trying to shape them. I can see one more here I want to get. So the goal is to lay them as flat as you can. You don't have very much going up. I don't really understand that, but I know the guys have said that that makes the tree more stable for bearing the fruit, that will hold more apples if you do it that way. So that's been our goal here, real simple. Anything growing in, we cut out. Anything growing up, we cut out. Then we try to lay any of the bigger branches as flat as we can with these spreaders.
This week on Pay Dirt, our featured property comes from Northeast Minnesota. This 300+ acre parcel is an unbelievable hunting and recreational tract. It has a 2-bedroom, 1-bath cabin that sleeps 8. The cabin sits 3/4 of a mile off the road and has its own pond. The track also features its own fire tower with power. You can hunt and watch the big game all from your stand. It also features a 150 yards electric shooting range, a pole barn, a garage, and a storage building. Sitting on the Pine-Aiken County line, this property also abuts the Solana State Forest, giving you 60,000 additional acres to go hunt and have fun on. Imagine hunting your own 300-acre parcel, having an unbelievable cabin, and having 8 enclosed box stands with food plots at each, plus 60,000 additional acres for you and your family and friends to go hunt on. This tract is truly one of a kind. If you like this property or properties like this anywhere in the country, check out realtreeuc.com today.
Planting apple trees is one of the best investments you can make on recreational land. Not only is it good for the wildlife, we have a lot of apple tree production on this farm. I mean, the production per acre, the amount of tonnage of forage per acre that you get out of a good orchard is going to be way higher than anything else that you can plant. Plus the maintenance is lower compared to having to plant and maintain clover plots and other types of food plots. They're pretty in the spring, the flowers are beautiful. Everything about apple trees lends them to creating value for recreational landowners. So if you've got a few acres that set up well for this, nice south-facing slope, places where the cool air can flow through, that'd be a place to consider creating your own small apple orchard. Thanks for joining us for the first ever episode of Pay Dirt. We're looking forward to touching on a lot of topics that apply to the recreational landowner. Hopefully you can continue to join us throughout the season.